Okay, hello and welcome. Pardon the racket. We are holding short of runway 31 left here at Palm Springs International Airport in Southern California, in the mountains, in the desert, and we're sitting here, and this is in the new prepared 3.0 version of the software just released. In, of course, the Mighty Dash, and we're basically taking this flight. I'm doing it mainly for almost purely recreational purposes, as I just get our runway heading set here. That, and I want to get a good idea. Just turn this down for myself here. I want to get a good idea of just how good, bad, indifferent, or horrible our Orbx Southern California scenery is. That Southern California region is both good and good-looking and vital and indispensable, but it is also horribly, horribly slow and prone to what's called the blurries, where it doesn't render texture quickly enough and it just sort of renders it as smoothed out mush. So let's turn our gust lock off. So what I'm going to do is fly a quick flight out to Santa Monica, and we'll fly a sort of abbreviated version of the ILS approach into runway 20 right. Starting at Sager, we are not going to go all the way out for the full procedure, which would take us to Seal Beach. Let's see, that's Riverside, yada yada yada. El Toro's right there. Where is Seal Beach? That's Los Angeles VOR. That is Seal Beach. That would take us out to Seal Beach and then back up this way and back down that way. We're just going to fly direct in because mainly I want to get a look at some of the scenery here. So we're going to fly the Cathedral 1 departure out of here off of runway 31 left, which means we're going to make a fairly immediate turn here and head back towards the Palm Springs VOR, at which point we're going to fly outward towards Emerald, and then, if need be, back inbound until we're at the minimum altitude for the minimum en route altitude, which is, I believe, 11,000 feet. But we're going to have some pretty good climb performance. That shouldn't be a huge problem, shouldn't be a big deal. So let me just quickly tune up Palm Springs 1155 in there. And we'll put in our standby our localizer frequency, which is going to be 111.75. And that way we will have all the nav aids we need, even though we're going to be on pink needles. In other words, we're going to be doing this FMS style. But we'll have that all ready to go. Get into flight, check our transponder, check our TCAS. Let's see, transponder is on, squawking altitude, and our TCAS is on auto TARA. Got a nice long runway to go from. You know what I didn't do is get our weather. We've got a whopping headwind down the runway of about 23 knots, which is going to make life kind of fun and cool. But let's just see. Right, there we go, yes. Wind 320 at 23, gusting to 28, altimeter, what was that, 2975? I just missed it. Yes, 2975. So we're in a little bit of grip of a low pressure system. I know from memory that my V speeds are 126 and 126 and 138 for here, so I haven't bugged it up, mainly because I'm lazy and I just want to actually go flying, to tell you the truth. And I wanted to get the mighty dash. 2975 for the altimeter. 2975 set. And again, this is what it kind of looks like here. Outbound to this radial, fly it to Palm Springs, fly it out this way, and then if need be, fly back to Palm Springs and hold. But we will not need be, but what we will do is hold down our format key, get us back in map mode. There we go. Alright. And I think with that, and again, pardon the frame indicator up here, but I just want to see how things go here. And actually, we've set far too much fuel, so let me just offload some fuel, because that's a stupid, crazy amount of fuel, and for a minute I thought I was in the 737. So forgive me for 1 second while we set that to 3,000. There we go. No, yeah, it's about right. If we run out of fuel, we'll run out of fuel. No big deal. Alright, it's going to be a flaps 10 departure. I've already trimmed up for it. I'm going to set just a tiny bit of right-hand rudder trim here. That's about right. And we shall take the runway expeditiously. And head for the hills. Ah, it is nice. It is nice flying the Mighty Dash again. And we've got 80 knots already. And now our V1 is more like 122. Again from memory, there we go, and look at how smoothly she rotates. Pretty as a picture. Should be in toga mode here. We're in heading select for the moment. Trim down a little bit here. Forgetting we're at altitude. Alright, there's Palm Springs. Going to nav mode, and that's not working. Start to bring up our flaps, start to bring back our props to 900. There we go. There's our turn. Let's take it. In come the flaps, down comes the nose. Pick up a little steam here. Okay, flaps are up. Established in the turn. Let's get into IAS mode. There we go. We'll climb. Yeah, we'll climb at that speed. Yeah, we'll climb at about 185. There we go. And I just realized we haven't set an altitude to cruise at, so let's cruise at 14,000 feet. 14.5. Outcell is set. We're already at 4.6, and we're not even at PSP yet. So I'm going to hand fly this a little bit of the time at least. Let's just get a feel for it. Or get a feel back for it. Adjusting my rudder trim here. Letting the speed come up again. And we're at 53 as we make our turn. Just flying the flight director here, nothing more. Auto feather can come off. Pumps can come off. Bleeds can come to norm. And we can just keep on flying. Alright, we're going to have no trouble at all hitting our altitude, that's for certain. Let me just try and trim a little hands off here. Alright, so now I'm hands off and the plane is more or less stable. No wind to speak of at the moment. A little bit heavy on the right side of the airplane. Not sure why. It could be my controls. I'm sure it's my controls. When in doubt, doubt your flying skills first, and then your controls second, and then everything else third, fourth, fifth, and 10th. If you're really not flying the way you want to in a flight simulator, chances are it's your controls are just a little bit wonky. And yeah, all I can say is, based on my fairly limited real-world experience, the big problem is translating. Let me just trim my rudder out a little bit. Is translating the about 1.5 foot of travel you get from a standard yoke, and you know the 90 degrees side to side, with the you know 6.5 inches you might get in a really good yoke, and the 3 inches of travel or 4 inches of travel you get in a joystick, and that's mainly what it is. Now in a second we're going to have a kind of drastic turn here. Luckily we are at altitude, so we're not in any danger of hitting anything. But there we go. In a second we're going to get this Q to turn as hard as we possibly can. And I am mostly hands off at this point now. That's good. There we are. And the flight director will not ask us to make more than, say, a standard rate turn. So it's not going to, if you follow the flight director needle right here, you're not going to do anything insane. But before we do that, I believe that's the Salton Sea there. I'm not sure. So around we come. Square up our heading, bug. You can see we're almost 2 miles to the left of the track, and that's because it tried to fly us over that waypoint, and we are obviously we have a turning radius, so that is nothing to be concerned about, unless you're in very tight quarters. Just get ourselves into cruise props, 850. A little more passenger comfort. And we are doing just fine on altitude. And we're doing pretty nice on frames. Now, the way I've set this up is using nVidia Inspector. Okay, we're 1,000 away. And I've set up nVidia Inspector to, just going to trim down a little bit, limit the refresh rate to 60 and limit our frame rate in the sim to half of that, so 30. And hopefully that will keep us from gagging on too many frames and not being able to render them and having scenery blurries and all sorts of stuff like that. Now, my flight director is telling me to fly far to the right, and that's to intercept this radial. You see where we are, and you see where that needle is? But again, for passenger comfort, and also to save a little bit of time here, I'm going to set us up, just blew through our altitude. I'm going to set us up to intercept it at a much shallower angle. Get ourselves leveled out here. (120 feet high, but who's counting? As we cut in on our flight path. There we go. Get our autopilot in for 1 second, because mainly now what I want to do, and what will be okay for you to do, is we can gawk at the scenery a little bit. This is again Orbx SoCal, and mainly what I want to see is it rendering it okay, and for the moment it seems like it is. I mean, those are the golf courses of Palm Springs there. The mountains look great. I don't see a lot of scenery that's popping in and out too suddenly or redrawing in front of our eyes. I've set 2 times super sampling anti-aliasing, which is a little bit of a burden on the frames. And I'm also running 4K, so that's a burden on the frames too. Now bear in mind we're not in heavy clouds, which really hits the old video card pretty hard. And we're not, you see how that's sort of popping up and drawing, and you see how that's blurry and soft? Now that's a function also of distance. Of draw distance, and the trick is that that isn't doing it when you're at lower altitude to the point where it makes you crazy. Let's just quickly check our pressurization, which is good, and just quickly I'll get rid of this, brief our arrival. I'm studying political conventions for my work, and there's a famous moment in the 2004 Democratic Convention. It's being directed by a guy named Don Mischer. He's in the control room, and he is the director of all sorts of things, big shows like the Oscar Awards show. And I was reminded this recently because, you know, I have a director who sometimes screams, and this guy was certainly on the spot. Let me just see if I can get it for you. The balloons are supposed to drop, and CNN was taking to air the audio of this director so people could see what this director did. And unfortunately, they saw him lose his, what's the technical term for it, lose his shit on TV. So here, listen. That's terrible music, too, so apologies. course, they're not happening.
No confetti, no confetti yet, no confetti. All right, go balloons, go balloons. We need more balloons. All balloons should be going. Come on, guys, let's move it. Jesus.
And still no balloons.
We need more balloons. I want all balloons to go. God. Yes. Go confetti. Go confetti. Go confetti. I want more balloons. What's happening to the balloons? We need more balloons. We need all of them coming down.
He's actually remarkably calm, all things considered.
Go balloons, balloons. What's happening, balloons? There's not enough coming down. All balloons. Where the hell? There's nothing falling. What the fuck are you guys doing up there? We want more balloons coming down. More balloons, more balloons.
So baby, dry your eyes. Say your own tears and cry. Oh, that's what it means.
While those balloons are coming down, what you heard was the voice of God's mystery.
Well, anyway, there weren't enough fucking balloons. That much is clear. Here in the Mighty Dash, we've got a whole cargo of fucking balloons, and we're just going to drop them the fuck over Southern California as we take a look and see how the scenery is performing. When I first installed this, it was performing terribly, and I've been tweaking it and screwing around with it and I really wanted to because you know, this is a very nice place to fly. There are a ton of airports, there are a ton of procedures, there's Pilot Edge if you want it, and the way they've done it just looks great. I mean, this is as good as it gets here. This is really, if you fly over it, this is what it looks like. It is really remarkable. However, you can see some of the places popping in and out. That's a function of prepared more than anything else. It can only hold 4 gigabytes worth of anything in virtual address space, so it does have to swap things in and out every now and again. Here, let's just see what it looks like on the outside here. And hang on a second, have I totally hosed the audio for this? I hope I haven't. I have. I'm so sorry. There we go. In my desire to get the fucking balloons right, I believe that's San Bernardino Airport, but I am not certain. And there, that's rendering nicely, but you can see it's blurry right here. And the closer we get to the LA Basin, the worse that's going to get. Already we're going anywhere between 44 frames and 14 frames. Let me just switch our settings here and use VSync and see if I can lock it to 30. Keep triple buffering off. Keep frame limiting off. Let's just see what that whether that helps. Okay, now that keeps us a little steadier, smoother. You know, it renders well here. It's blurrier here, but that's by design. Certainly no signs of stuttering here. And again, I've got 2 times sparse grid super sampling on to cut down on some of the jaggies and sparklies. So that will eat into the frame rate somewhat. It's the variability that's just trouble. I don't want to artificially limit it in the sim to 30 because that takes a bite out of performance, something fierce. So I'm trying to limit it only using VSync. But we'll see as it starts rendering here. You know, this is the thing that X-Plane is reasonably good at, but what X-Plane is not reasonably good at is having Orbx quality area scenery like this, which is just stupendous. It's got... It has a kind of variation on it in that it has built-in sort of OpenStreetMap mapping of, you know, every road is kind of in the right place. But as we get lower down, you see how this is all popping into focus here? See, that's blurry, that's sharp, that's blurry, that's sharp. And as we get just a little bit closer, this will just pop in a little bit. I think that's Corona Airport, but I'm not certain. Again. And this is the 10 freeway we're coming down, if I'm not mistaken. Not the 10, the... yeah, it is the 10. The clouds are magnificent. The terrain looks great. Just brief our arrival here. Let me zoom out a little bit so we can see it. Alright, there we go. There is Sager. We're inbound to it right now, and as a matter of fact, we need to be a lot lower. So let's go down to 4,500. Outsell. IAS. Roll off the power and down we go. Again, I forgot I'm not in the 737. I can't just pull the power all the way back to idle because I'll take it all the way into beta mode. That's what that warning is. Alright, so down we go. Check out our arrival. Our runway heading, our course is going to be 196, so we'll set that up right there. And you know what, we should tune in our localizer here, that would be good. Wow, okay. Do we want to do a slam dunk arrival? Shall we? Let's see, how far away are we? We're 18 miles away. Yeah, why not? Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to move our descent speed as high up as we possibly can and bring our power down as low as we possibly can. There we go. And let's look out the window, of course. One thing X-Plane does a lot better than P3D is render highways. Highways, for some reason, in P3D and X-Plane are rendered like dirt roads. And I don't quite know why. Okay, we're a little over speedy. But what we're going to do is pull our props forward. Pull up just a little bit here. Now capture the localizer. There we go. We'll do a couple S-turns to boot. Alright, so there's the localizer. Get our asses coming down again. There's the runway. You know what let's do? Let's do another S-turn here. Come across the localizer again.
Caution, terrain. Caution, terrain.
Oh, I know. Round we come again. Lose a little speed. We'll also switch over to Blue Needles. Our glide slope, as you can see, is beneath us. And you can see the scenery rendering. You see all those roads and all those houses? Those are what are wreaking havoc on us here. And boy, our frame rates suck. Here, let's do this also. Let's fly out towards Long Beach here. There's the field. But I want to get some idea of what everything looks like here. See how it's getting kind of stuttery? So we'll head out through the haze here towards Long Beach and just cut across the approach path. And get ourselves back into cruise mode for the props. Get our bleeds to min. Get ourselves ready to go. Bim bam boom. Get ourselves level at 3,000 feet. Stoke on a little bit of power. Get rid of our flight directors. Just fly over the field here and let's just see what things look like. Got a little bit of a wind from the north, so I mean if I fly around here and approach from the other side, it will not be the worst thing in the world. So we're 3,200 feet and we're just level there. Just want to get some idea. I mean, look at all of that. Look at all that housing and look at that grid. So that's a lot of stuff to render. That's very CPU intensive, actually. Fly out over Long Beach and see what that's like. And then come back up the coast. There's nothing really official about this procedure here. We're just doing it to see what we can see. That's the 405 freeway, and again it looks like a dirt road. And you can see the stuff is sort of rendering as we come up on it. I trim us out a little bit. There we go. That's about right. That is Seal Beach. We'll fly up the 405 a little bit. It gets really bad around Long Beach. But so far it's not abysmal. Well, that's abysmal. Look at that pause. Let's Let's go towards Long Beach Airport here. All right, you see that all that scenery sort of rendering as we come up on it? That's a lot of stuff to render. Looking down at my CPU temperatures, they're about 63 Celsius. I'm overclocked to about 4500 on a 5820. So it's a decent amount of CPU. Alright, so there is Long Beach Harbor coming up. Let's just see what it looks like. Believe it or not, this is about as unatrocious as I've had it. It can be really, really awful. It's times like this I wish I had I wish I could fly 1440p or something like that, but I'm really kind of hooked on 4K because I've got a 32-inch monitor, and it makes the viewing so much nicer. You don't have to pan around as much. There's less need for anti-aliasing. It's just a nice way to go. Alright, so here we are over Long Beach Airport, and frame rates are reasonable. They're not terrible. Let's fly directly over Long Beach here. Just get into an altitude hold mode here. Oh, what the hell, I'll fly the airplane. Been flying it this far, might as well just keep up with it. So that is Daughtry Field right there. And once we get past here, it's where it really kind of starts to get gnarly, because there are cranes to render and harbor shit to render, and lots and lots of houses and lots of streets. There's Los Angeles Harbor. We'll make for that. Fly over the Queen Mary here. Alright, so far so good. That's the Palos Verdes Peninsula right over there, out at about our 1 o'clock. The mighty Los Angeles River. Alright, it's kind of rendering as we go, but it's not doing a terrible job. This is about the most demanding scenery in Prepared, I think. It's about twice as demanding as Orbx's Pacific Northwest or even the San Francisco area. It is really bad as we go over the Union 76 Unocal refineries there. That doesn't look terrible. At least not egregious. That's Torrance or Zamperini Field, and it's going to pause while it loads. And we're anywhere between 30 and 19 frames. Alright, we got some clear stutteration there. See how it's blurry? It's certainly working for a living, our CPU. Let's just turn away from there and you'll see that it gets a bit better as we head out over Los Angeles Harbor and all the imports coming in, as the orange one would say, from China. We do terrible deals with them, of course. I would do better deals. You would do better deals. We'd all do better deals. Do better deals. That's my new motto. Do better deals with China. I'll remember that the next time I'm buying a relatively reasonably priced Apple product, or I'm ordering in. All right, that's not terrible. And we're running 2 times sparse grid super sampling, so I'll bet you if I took that off, we would find things a little bit better. So let's head right back towards Santa Ana, John Wayne, and land there. If we could pick it out in all this haze. If not, we'll have to settle for San Diego. Also, bear in mind, the Mighty Dash is not the world's most frame rate hostile aircraft. It's pretty good on that sort of thing, so. But so far, I'm not grotesquely disappointed here. This shows some promise. All right, there's Long Beach again with its 16 runways. Just come down to 2,500 here. All right, there's one of the runways at Long Beach. We could land there, but I want to see what I've got. Latin VFRs. KSNA scenery, so I want to see what that looks like and see how it performs. Alright, we're reasonable on frame rates, and this is a cloudy, hazy day, so this is hardly the worst that could happen, except for those load times for scenery. Let's just do this though. Let's slow down a bit. We'll pop out flaps 5. Get ourselves ready to enter a pattern. Get our altimeter set though. I'm just doing landing speeds by feel here. This is a wetlands preserve. I just forget the name of it. I have a friend who lives there. I really should know. Alright, there we go. It's about the right speed. Get flaps 5 out. Balloon up a little bit. We'll land on 2 left. So we'll start looking for the airport, which looks to be right off there, off our 10 o'clock. A little more power in. Just sort of lollygagging on in right here, but I mainly want to see at this altitude now what things look like. They look a little stuttery, you see? They're rendering at a fairly high frame rate, but it's dropping frames because that's why it's stuttering a bit. There's a lot of stuff to render. Again, I mean, this is, I don't hold this against anybody. This is really rough stuff. Let's see if we can find an airport in that muck. I believe that's it. Little bit of a tailwind to deal with, but that's okay. It's the Mighty Dash. It is mighty and all-powerful. Besides, we're at a decent altitude. We're kind of nicely proportioned to land here. And there is our localizer, at least the back side of it, and there's our pappies. Get a little flappage in here. Slow down a bit. Get flaps 15 in. And we're going to aim right for the road on the edge of that lake right there. The fine art of bumbling your way into an arrival. Yeah, we're going to make sure we're lined up right about there. I remember this from flying in here. Let's see what our power is. It's about 12. That is fine. We're a little high. Alright. Let's see what it looks like on short final. We'll let ourselves come down a touch. There we are.
1,000.
Burn off a little speed here. And see if we judge that just right. By Jove, I think we have. Yes. Look at that. Alright, there we are. For once, I don't blow through an approach path. Now, I'm judging my V-speed by where my pitch is right now, and you notice I'm even, I'm level pitch, so I'm actually just a touch fast. You see how we got just a little bit high there? I don't want to get too much slower, and I don't want the nose to come up too much more.
500.
That's about right. Now we're about 1 or 2 degrees nose high. Bring a little more power in so we don't start sinking.
Plus 100.
And now I'm not really going to
Minimums.
touch anything.
Minimums. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Alright. Rotated a little late there. Or flared a little bit late. You notice what I did was I sort of drove my main gear into the ground. I'll show you on the replay. You'll see what happens here. Well, you'll see it. I'll show you. Something to learn from. I'm never embarrassed about embarrassing myself with this. Alright, so. Well, here, let me see if I can. Alright, so now, what's going to happen is we're going to get a little low to the runway, and then I'm going to rotate, and it's essentially going to lever. If the point of rotation is right about there, it's going to basically force these onto the ground faster instead of holding us up longer, because I do it too low. Now watch. Notice I flare right about there, and it's basically just jamming our gear on the ground. I mean, it's 200 feet per minute. It's not horrible. But it could have been. You don't want it to be a greaser, but you don't want it to be quite that firm. Anyway, welcome to John Wayne, and that is, here I'm just going to awkwardly get our sweet selves off this runway the hard way. Do it a little bit ugly here, but there are airplanes behind us, so let us move on out. Just going to hold short of the left-hand runway right here, and may leave it right there. Looks like I've still got some duplicate runway signs here. These sort of stone tablets are stock, and I should probably figure out what's up with that. But at any rate, until then, that was just a quick little SoCal tour, and see you soon. Thanks for watching.